Hey guys, Kush here again. Got 10 more PS4 Shmups for you coming right now. First game I want to talk about is called Ghostblade. If you want to find this game physically, you are looking at the PS4, Nintendo Switch, or a Dreamcast. For digital, you can get it as a download on the PS4, the Nintendo Switch, or on Windows. Ghostblade has 3 difficulty levels, easy, medium, and hard. And on the character select screen, you can choose from 3 different characters. There are 2 alternate gameplay options here. You can do a training, which runs you through the level. You also have a score attack mode as well. I would definitely put this one in the bullet hell camp. It's got a lot going on. The game also has 2-player co-op, so you can bring a friend, which is great. It's a bright and colorful vertical shooter that builds very quickly towards frantic play. The soundtrack has a quick pacing to it and definitely helps keep the game moving. You also have bombs that can be used to clear the board of bullets, which you will need towards the end of the game. Some of the enemies, when they're destroyed, their bullets are destroyed as well, so you can kind of plan accordingly with that. If you die, for a period of a few seconds, no enemy shots are shot at you, so you have a chance to get your bearings as you play through the game. The next game we're going to talk about is called Jamestown. You can find this as a download on the PS4 or the Switch. Now, Jamestown has 5 different difficulty levels. Normal, difficult, legendary, divine, and judgment. One of the interesting gameplay modes is called Gauntlet mode, and it starts you at the beginning and it walks you all the way through the end of the game if you can make it. One of the other things about the game is you can have up to 4 people playing at the same time, which is really cool. The game definitely has a retro pixely look to it. It reminds me of Metal Slug if it was a shoot 'em up. One of the things about the game though is as you're playing through it, you actually have to go from playing easy to medium to hard. You can't just play the entire game easy through. You have to advance in difficulty as you go through the game. The ability to change your special shot is pretty interesting, but you could just do that on any of the other games by selecting a different character. The soundtrack is wonderful. At times it has a beautiful suspenseful build to it, and when needed, a vivid franticness. As you beat the game, you get the game's currency called ducats, which you can buy upgrades in the store with. It's a fun game. I don't like the fact of having to play on harder difficulties as the game progresses through. If I want to play it on easy, I'd rather just play it on easy. Next game up is called Skyforce. You can get this physically on the PS4 or the Vita, and you can get it as a download on the PS4, the Vita, the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox One, or the PS3. The thing about Skyforce, it's just each level has 4 different objectives to it, and once you get those 4 objectives, it has 4 more objectives, and once you get those 4, it has 4 more, and once you hit those 4, it has 4 more. So in total, each level has 16 objectives. The different objectives definitely give it a little bit of a different flair to it than your normal shoot 'em up game. The game does have 2-player local couch co-op. I don't have that option because I'm playing the Vita version, but the other ones do have that. The overworld map that you select your stage at is just very linear. However, the objectives in each of the levels can distract you from that fairly easily. It moves more slowly than your typical shoot 'em up. As you advance in difficulty, the bullets get faster and the enemies do get more frequent. If you do want to make the game harder, you could just not buy the upgrades too. That would get really difficult as you're playing through. Stars are your currency in the game, so when you get enough, you can purchase upgrades at your hangar. You will be in the hangar buying upgrades a lot, and the game can get a little grindy as far as going out and just getting stars or getting one objective in the level. So if you don't like the grinding mechanic, this might be a pass for you. To keep you in check, the game does require you to beat the previous levels and have a certain number of medals as well to advance to the next stage. So to a certain degree, you do have to grind things out. It's not an option. The soundtrack is alright, but the visuals are vibrant and the effects of the clouds, lightning, and other ground details are nice. However, there's not a lot of variance in the bad guys. Skyforce is a fun game. It can get a little tedious grinding, but if you can deal with that mechanic, I highly recommend this one. Next game I want to talk about is Caladrius Blaze. Caladrius Blaze has a couple different difficulty levels. You can go from practice to very easy, easy, normal, hard, and very hard. You can find this game physically on the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch, and by download on the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch as well. You could find this game physically on the PS3 as well, but it was only released in Japan. There's a couple different alternate gameplay options for this. You have your main story mode, which breaks down into original mode, evolution, and arcade. You also have a boss rush mode and a score attack. This I would definitely put in the bullet hell camp, as it does get very frantic on the screen at times. You can also play this game 2-player as well. Character selection screen shows you how the ship is going to fire, which is great. That's one of the very cool things about it. The whole shame break thing, I'm not a big fan of. If you want to shoot somebody and blow them up, the bosses, your character, that's fine, I get it. The whole stripping away of clothing, I can deal with that. The enemies vary widely, which is nice. You're not shooting down the same 6 ships over and over again, and they all have very different shots that they take at you. The 3D backgrounds are nice as they soar by, and the soundtrack has a nice gothic heaviness to it with a nice touch of a rocking guitar. The upgrade system is only for your special shots, so that's your triangle, your square, and circle buttons, which you can put different points into whichever side you want. The story to me is about as useful as the Shamebreak skin show. I just wasn't into it. It's an okay shoot 'em up. The graphics are nice, the backgrounds are nice, scrolling by with the 3D effects. This Shamebreak thing I couldn't get past. So next game I want to talk about is Deathtiny. So the full name of this is Ketsui Deathtiny Ketsui Jigoku Tachi. I am sorry if I said that wrong. Has a couple different difficulty levels. Super easy, arcade, Deathtiny, custom, and IKD 2007 SP. Upgrades don't affect you, but your ship's already upgraded a little bit. The only way I found this game is physically. I actually looked in the PlayStation Store and I couldn't find it. Now it might be something that's region locked, so that might play a factor in. It does have a 2-player mode, so you can play this bullet hell with 2 people, which would be awesome. As far as alternate gameplay options, I couldn't find any. Again, the majority of what's on the screen is all in Japanese, and I can't read Japanese, so I'm kind of blind playing through this. The game reminds me a lot of Battle Garega, although there is no parallax scrolling. The background just scrolls along with plenty of targets that pop out of everywhere, both flying and otherwise. Again, the majority of this is all in Japanese, so I'm not 100% sure what the storyline is here. Seems like it's a war going on somewhere, somehow, somewhen. Modern times-ish. It's a fun shooter and moves along quickly, and you will find that you are in constant motion. The upgrades are no joke either. You pick one up and you are definitely throwing out more firepower. As for the character selection, I would go with the one on the left. The ship has a nice spread shot, so when you get it upgraded, you're covering about 80% of the screen. It is a one-hit kill, and when you die, your upgrades do go flying, but they're very easy to recover. The graphics are what I would call pixely from the mid to late 90s and are nicely done. The enemies are varied and the explosions are well put together. The soundtrack has a dramatic tone to it, but it very easily falls into the background without being too obnoxious. There are also no loading screens at all, so there's very little slowdown in the action. On the right side of the screen, you can actually see how far through the level you are, which I haven't seen in many other shoot 'em ups. I would definitely recommend trying to get your hands on one of these if you can. The next game I want to talk about is called Dimension Drive. Dimension Drive has 1 difficulty level. That's it. You can find Dimension Drive physically on the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. You can also download it as well on the PS4, the Nintendo Switch, and the Xbox One. There's no alternate gameplay here. It's the story and that's it. You do have a multiplayer option, which is nice, so you can bring a friend. The twist on the gameplay here is that it's a mirror effect. Your position on one side of the screen is mirrored on the other. You also have to flip back and forth between the 2 sides for bullet regeneration as well as dodging obstacles. The graphics are bright and make it easy to see the bullets coming at you. The mirror mechanic is what pulled me into this game. The story only serves to fill in the gaps between levels, though the mechanics really make your mind work. You do see a position marker on the opposite side of where you are, so you know when you flip over where you're going to appear. The game is very linear and it doesn't allow you to any leeway. There's no branching paths, there's no anything like that. It's just the storyline. It's an okay game. I had fun with it, but not my top pick. Now we're going to talk about Raiden V. Raiden V has a lot of different difficulty levels, all the way from practice, very easy, normal, hard, and very hard. You can find this physically as well as digitally on the PS4, the Nintendo Switch, and the Xbox One. You do have an alternate gameplay option of boss missions, so basically I think it's just a boss rush mode. I would definitely put this in the bullet hell camp. It is amazing how fast the screen will fill up. One of the things is when you're setting up the game, you can change your shield rate and bomb stock to either lighten the load or make the game more challenging. The soundtrack is rocking and keeps the feeling of urgency going. As you're flying, the movement can sometimes hide the enemy shots if they're coming at you at the same speed of the background, but it's nothing horrible. One of the things I didn't like about this game was the constant support staff telling you, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that. It didn't add anything to the game, at least from what I saw. So Raiden V I would definitely recommend. It's going to be inexpensive to find and it has my thumbs up. Now we're going to talk about Aqua Kitty. You can find this physically on the PS4 and the PS Vita, digitally on the PS4, the PS Vita, the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox One, as well as Windows. Aqua Kitty has basically two difficulty levels. You have easy and normal, but then you have arcade mode. And in arcade mode, if you die, the arcade mode resets. In the arcade mode, you get 1 life, but you can get these gems and then get upgrades in the level. You got to do it in the level. And then as you get more gems, you can get better upgrades. But again, you have to do it in the level. So you can hold them over from level to level. Level. On the PS Vita version, I'm sure it's single player only. However, on my version, you can actually play 2 players, which is cool. It's a retro style graphic shooter. You're in a submarine fighting to protect the milk miners at the bottom of the ocean. It reminds me a lot of Defender, but just better graphics. The bad guys are trying to pick up the kittens mining the milk at the bottom of the sea, and you have to protect them. As you go on, you have guys on your side that you can accidentally shoot and they will take damage, so you got to be careful as you can have some collateral damage playing the game too. There's 25 levels in the overworld, so you do have quite a bit of play to get through. The 26th level is an infinite level that just keeps going and going and going with bad guys that keep spawning and spawning and spawning. It's a fun and colorful game. You can definitely beat it on easy and probably a single night. I know I did. Now, we've got Cruisin Mix, the game paradise. As far as difficulty goes, you've got 5 different levels, going from very easy, normal, hard, and very hard. It's physically available on the PS4 and the Sega Saturn. You can also download it on the PS4, the Nintendo Switch, and Windows. You do have a couple different options as far as alternate gameplay. You have classic mode, which is normal, and then you have a time attack, and then you have an arcade plus with a normal and a time attack as well. The game does support 2-player couch co-op, which is good. There's a lot of options going on just to get the game going. Options for Tate or regular, stretching the screen or not. It's similar to Parodius in that it doesn't take itself serious. It's more in line with a cute-em-up. It's bright and colorful, and the pixel graphics look very nice. One of the items you pick up is an eggplant, which of course now has a very different connotation to it. The different levels are just different games in an arcade. So one of the levels is a fighting level. You've got another level, which is a crane game. It's interesting how it plays on that. It's cute and it's fun, and I'm glad I have it in my collection, but it's not my favorite. So the last game that we're going to talk about in this video is Aces of the Luftwaffe. Aces you can get physically and download on the PS4, the Nintendo Switch, and the Xbox One, and you can download it on Windows as well. You've got 3 different levels: normal, hard, and extreme. Extreme is unlocked when you beat the game on any difficulty. You don't have any alternate gameplay options here, but one of the interesting things is you can play as the good guys or the bad guys. I would put this in the regular shoot-'em-up camp. It's not so frantic that it's a bullet hell, but it does get towards that as you play through the game. You can also play this game with 1 to 4 players, which is nice. It is a very cartoonish vertical shoot 'em up. You have wingmen in the game, so it's not just you on the screen, and they have different afflictions with them. One of them falls asleep and needs protection. Another one gets so rageful that you can't even fly near them, and they just kind of radiate red angerness. Your wingmen will take damage as you're flying and they get hit, but it's not a one-hit kill. One of your wingmen will actually repair the other ones as they're flying along. As you play through the levels, you gain experience, and then that translates to points that you can then spend on upgrading each of the pilots. You can fully upgrade yourself, but not your wingmen, or you can spread the points out across everybody. It depends on how you want to play the game. One of the things though is your wingmen do help you a lot, so you'd be in your best interest to upgrade them. The voice acting can get a little cliche at times, but it's cartoony, so the acting goes along with it, and it shouldn't be taken in a serious light in the slightest. It doesn't have any branching paths, but you do have the level select, which you can jump around and play previous levels and go back and do better on another level. There are side missions which you can get experience for completing as you're just flying through the levels as well. There is a lot for a completionist to unpack here if they want to. I would definitely recommend this game as it's going to be on the cheap, and there's a lot of replayability here. And if you get a couple friends together, you could have a very fun night too. So that's it, guys. Those are all my shoot 'em ups for the PS4 across 3 whole videos. I hope you've enjoyed. I'm going to link the videos here so you can get back and forth between them if you haven't seen the other ones. Again, if you have a comment, please leave it below. Like and subscribe if you like the content, and take it easy and be good to each other.